Hey yo, what is up, my good people? It's your boy, Big Chris, aka the Content Animator, and I'm here once again to bring you another dumb as hell video. So, on today's video, we're gonna be going through and talking about Euphoria Season 2, and we're going to be reviewing Episode 1 and 2. Now, this is a show that I've been very, very excited to get down and review and to finally talk about. I'm very, very interested in this show, and I just finished last season probably a few days ago, so I'm very interested to talk about it with everyone and just kind of go through these first two episodes and just talk about it. Now, as far as the last season went, I quite enjoyed it a good amount. Now, there were some things in it that I didn't enjoy, like some of the artsy stuff that they got into. Like, I didn't enjoy the final shot with the end sequence with Zendaya doing this whole gospel dance sequence and everybody. I'm not a huge fan of that type of stuff, so I wasn't into it all the time. Some of the teenage drama stuff doesn't always hit for me or doesn't always interest me and stuff like that. But what I do enjoy about the show is a lot of the character dynamics, a lot of the things they do with the talking back and forth with all the characters, and just how they're using a lot of just the essence of just drug dealing and drug taking aspects of all the characters, and especially different things with how the relationships are going, where you got Rue, who's now dating a young girl who's a transsexual, or just this violent relationship between Maddie and her boyfriend Nate, or Cassie and her other boyfriend Mackay, and just their relationship. I'm enjoying a lot of that stuff and just how crazy and over the top everything is. And with that, those two episodes I'm really enjoying. So with this start of this episode, it starts off with Rue in the car with Faz and the younger his younger brother Ashtray. They're going to this whole drug deal scene and everything that kind of goes along with that type of stuff. Um, I enjoyed a lot of the stuff with Rue in that car and just her going crazy, just singing this Tupac song, pissing off Fez and Ashtray. They finally get to the destination, and it turns out to be this drug spot that they now got to go to and try to figure out a new way to get a connect, a new way to get some drugs, and just the craziness that goes on from there. I'm not going to go fully into it, but Rue gets into some situation. Fez and them all got to get naked, and just they got to now go through this whole drug situation of trying to get some new buyers. All that stuff was really dope, really tense, and just really entertaining to watch. That leads us to the big New Year's party where Jules is finally back in town. You got Cassie, who's somehow got connected with Nate, and they got this whole crazy car sequence where he's driving her to the car to the party. She's already drunk because he found her inside a front of a convenience store eating a package of donuts. He's drinking and driving, she's taking her panties off and stuff like that, sticking her head out of the window. I quickly thought that it was gonna be some hereditary type shit and her head get chopped off or her just fly out the window or some goofy shit. But it's a really tense scene, and he's going over 100 miles per hour drinking and shit. I really enjoyed a lot of what they were doing with that scene and just how tense it was. And you're getting further and further with Nate's craziness. If you watch the show, I think he's a really good villain in the show, along with him and his dad and the stuff that his dad does next. They get to the party, having sex in the bathroom. Maddie comes in, who's his ex-girlfriend, and she knocks on the door. She don't know who's in the bathroom at first. Turns out to be Nate, but they want to say that it's Maddie in there with him. And just that whole scene of what goes on with them, him trying to hide Maddie, and Cassie finally gets to the bathroom taking a piss and throwing a pissy rag on her face without noticing that, and just everything that was going on. And she ends up kind of getting into this little bit of a fling with this black dude in the party. I enjoyed a lot of that stuff and where they were going with a lot of their character and stuff like that. Maddie's just an asshole, and I like her character for it, and just everything that was going on with that. You got Nate coming out the party, fucking with people and stuff. But I think my favorite thing in this episode has to be Fez and this character of Lexi, who is Cassie's younger sister. I enjoy a lot of their dynamics and their characterizations between those two characters. With Nate Fez being this gangster, kind of white boy gangster type dude, and Lexi being this kind of subtle, nerdy little chick who's trying to break out of her shell. And it kind of starts to see it happening where Fez is talking to her and learning more about her. He's learning that she's kind of an atheist and she's really smart, but isn't, pushing herself out there. She's always putting herself down, and Fez is telling her not to. I really enjoyed their character dynamic and what there was going on and doing with their story with them. It all leads up to a bunch of stuff in the party just happening where you got things like Jules and Rue going back and forth. And after you see that Rue comes from the whole drug deal, she finds a piece of some heroin in a car from an incident that happened in that car. And she ends up, I think, taking the heroin. going back into the house all drugged out and finding this young cat named Elliot that she takes some drugs with him, and she almost has a heart attack, ends up stopping that by taking some other type of drug. She gets into a confrontation with Jules, who she'd been hiding from the whole party, and basically says to her, like, Jules asks Rue, is the reason why you relapsed on these drugs, is it because of me and leaving and stuff like that from what happened previous season? Rue doesn't lie, which I really like, and she says, yes, that's what's going on. And I really enjoyed just them kind of getting back together, but not really, and just just kind of just shaky situation between them both. That all leads up to where Nate is just wilding out in the party, drinking and stuff. He's fucking with Makai, this other black character who used to date Maddie, not Maddie, but Cassie. It's this is a lot. Talking about the show, you start to realize how much of like a teenage drama it is, but it's fun. It's kind of adult in some ways. It's just a really crazy show, but I think the thing I really enjoyed about that first episode was the end, where you kind of see Nate, who's just been this crazy kind of evilish white boy throughout the whole series. He finally gets his comeuppance, and Fez beats the dog shit out of him because of some shit that happened between them, and that was dealing from Rue and Jules, and just what the stuff that Nate has been doing to both of them. Like, if you watch this show, you see that. And oh shit, man, where is it at? There's an image that video part of the video here where you just see the aftermath of just what happened, and just Nate's face after he just gets beats up, and that's the start of episode 2. But as far as episode 1 goes, I really, really enjoy it. 4 out of 5. Probably some of the artsy stuff they were still doing here, I didn't enjoy any that much. Still, it's a teenage drama. I'm not fully 100% with that, but when the show does what it needs to do, when the acting goes down, when it shows all the craziness, that's when I'm really liking it and just really enjoying a lot of the stuff, especially with something that they have here where, if I can find it, let's see. If I didn't talk about it already, I think I didn't. Let's see. Oh, here it is. Here we go. The stuff with Fez and his kind of backstory that they get into, where you'll see it in a second. Let's get to it. Where you see his grandma, who's you see in the earlier in the season, where she's now has cancer or something, I believe, and she's in the bed stuck. But you see them two, and you find out that he gets all his gangster shit from his grandma, and she basically takes him in after his grandfather, I guess, beats the shit out of him, or his dad beats the shit out of him, which is, I guess, his dad is the owner of a strip club or something. You see her walking in there with a pistol, shoots both of his knees while he's getting head, and basically walks out like a G. And she's selling drugs, beating the shit out of people in the streets. Fez is trying to go get her. She brings in this young boy named Ashtray, who's just a baby at the time, and Fez ends up having to raise him himself, while she ends up falling on the floor from getting some type of disease, and now she's unconscious, stuck in a room, and Fez basically has to take over the gang himself, or the drug dealing situation himself, and raise this little boy as well. So I enjoyed a lot of that from that first episode, and just I think it was from the first. It may have been for the second episode, but I enjoyed a lot of that stuff too. And just, yeah, going into more of the second episode, if they did have that gangster part with his mom, that was really good. Um, you see Nate at the beginning of that first episode where, let me see if I get it right here. I showed you a little bit earlier, but yeah, there it is. Of him after he got his ass whipped. I fucking seriously, like, just this whole scene of him being this kind of this euphoric state of uh after ass whooping, just sitting there, and he's kind of going in and out of consciousness. He's having this experience where Rue is kind of narrating this whole thing, which I'm kind of hit and miss with this whole narrating with Zendaya. It's good at some points. Some points I just want the story to tell itself and not her kind of give this narration type thing. But where you see Nate, and he's having this imagination of what life would be like if he stuck with Cassie instead of Maddie, if he dated her first and stuff like that. I enjoyed that pack of his storytelling, because it kind of does what the show does really well. It kind of does give some life and some kind of enjoyment into the bad guys and stuff like that. That was good. Also, so getting past that, you see Nate's dad, who sees him and is trying to get him to tell him who beat the shit out of you, boy, who fucked you up. Like, he doesn't tell him that it was Fez, and now Nate's dad is starting to go around everywhere trying to figure out who in the hell beat up my son. He finally gets this Cassie and her family, and she basically snitches it out because he scares the shit out of her, which I don't know what parent will allow some strange man to interrogate her whole family. Like, I get that her mom is kind of a alcoholic a little bit, but even still, like, you're not just gonna come in my house and interrogate my daughters and shit. But it is a whole backstory. If you watch the show, it's probably why she let him do that. But it's still, it's even funnier coming from Black perspective. But the that episode ends with uh Lexi, who's kind of has this thing for Faz, going to warn Faz that Nate's dad is coming and something might happen. They get into this little kind of, not a confrontation, but she sees that Fez has another woman there for some reason, and she kind of gets jealous a little bit, but doesn't tell him all the way. Nate's dad comes in there with a gun in his pocket. Fez kind of realizes something is weird about this situation. Ashtray's in the back looking at Fez like, yo, what the fuck is going on? Lexi is scared as shit. The dad buys some gun, leave, but there's just real good sense of tension at that part of the episode, and I really really enjoyed what they did there. Other things in this episode was, what else was, Rue and Jules kind of having a little bit of a tiff because I think they're still kind of both mad at each other at some points and still trying to get back together and find that kind of connection again after Jules had left. But also, there's this young kid we just talked about earlier, which is Elliot, and now in the scene, and their whole connection I was finding real interesting because you could tell Elliot likes her. We don't know how Rue feels about him yet. How Zendaya's character feel. I don't know if she's into him because he's giving her basically free drugs or whatnot. But I'm very interested to see where that storyline with them two go. Um, but Jules is now jealous, and we're going to end up seeing, is that going to cause some issue? Is it not? I think the only thing from this episode that I didn't enjoy, the second episode, was probably I can't remember the name of the big chick, but the stuff that was dealing with her. Let me find her name real quick. Cat, yeah, stuff with Cat and her boyfriend. Um, I can't say I fully enjoyed everything that was going on with her character. Even in the last season, I was kind of like, whatever with her character. It came off a little bit cartoonish to me, and just every time she came on screen, I wasn't really enjoying it. It kind of was just like, I can take it or leave it. Her and her boyfriend Ethan, they have a story going along where she's into him, but she wants to be this kind of, she's a big girl, so she wants to dominate other people and kind of, dominate a lot of what she feels bad about herself. She doesn't like that she's fat. She doesn't like that kind of, she has low self-esteem and she can't stop eating and stuff like that. So she wants to kind of use that as power in some words. They have a scene where she not get I guess she's not getting the type of love from Ethan that she wants, so she's imagining herself getting it from some Dothraki type guy. But it's the scenes that I'm not necessarily disliking, but I'm not enjoying over everything else. I'm always feeling like, yo, get to the other stuff when I'm watching those scenes. But other than that, I'm really, really enjoying this show. I like Zendaya here. She comes off a little goofy at times, but as the lead, she does a very good job, especially at letting these other characters live and breathe and stuff. She's not always there as the center of attention, which is really, really dope for this show. Um, I'm really interested in things that they do with a lot of these characters and where they're going to take them, how far they're going to go with them. Also with Zendaya's AA manager, or I forget what you call it, the not alcoholics anonymous, but the drug anonymous, whatever you want to call it, the guy that's trying to look over for Rue, the black dude. I'm really enjoying his character. He seems like he's very interested in trying to help Rue out, and he knows that this young black girl is going through some shit that he could probably help her out. I'm very interested to see where they go with that character and how they're going to take that upon this and see if that can be the saving grace for Rue, and also what's going to happen with Maddie, Cassie, and Nate. How that storyline is going to affect everything. You also got Nate and his dad kind of going back and forth at each other. I'm very interested to see what all that stuff is going to happen, how they're going to deal with everything there. So yeah, this was a very good first two episodes, 4 out of 5 for both of them. I really enjoyed them, and I can't wait to see what they're going to do with the next few episodes. So yeah, Euphoria is a good show. I'm very interested in it, and I did not expect myself to be this interested in this liking of the show. But yeah, these are the first 2 reviews for this one. I'm gonna come up with some more stuff. They're probably gonna be those minute reviews that I've been doing, but very good first 2 episodes. I'm enjoying it. I'm out of here. I'm gonna get some more stuff to you later. Word up and peace.